Welcome to the next episode of Discipline, Desire, Dedication. My name is Dakota Lang, along co-host Garrett Cotten. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into market owner mindset. So that's pretty much like a branch manager for the people that don't are not with Performance Windows and watching this episode on how to run a proper business and have the right mindset behind it. So obviously, there are a lot of different factors that go into it as far as are you taking over a market? Are you opening a brand new market? Do you have 3 people in your office or do you have 10 people in your office?
Yeah.
Right. So many different perspectives that can change the mindset that you need to have behind it. But that's why we're going to help you dive into it and give you our insight.
So I think it'd be a great idea. We can kind of take it from you get the call, right? From whenever you're a top producing closer for our company, usually, you're getting yourself in every month. You're on the leaderboards. You're just driving revenue, being a leader,
Right.
and recruiting, building a team. And that's when you'll get the call to go open up your branch. So where do you think mindset of the closer whenever they're getting off that phone call with Kyle or Levi? So
Yeah.
kind of start with that. Like where are they at?
Well, just from experience, my own experience, is you start worrying about things that don't matter.
Mhm.
That's the first step.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Yeah, you start worrying about freaking, you worried about commissions, they ain't even got there yet. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, don't even worry about
How
it.
does market owner pay work? I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, I don't even know.
Yeah. So the main thing is keep doing what you're doing because that's why you got the call in the first place.
Mhm.
So don't stop doing what you're doing. Don't worry about all the other stuff that don't matter. That's what we're here to, and we train you on how to do that.
Yep.
So don't look 10 steps ahead, just one step ahead.
Yeah, I always tell, as for me as a regional now, is like whenever I get a closer that gets that call, my biggest form of advice is I tell them that for the next 6 months, don't change anything of what you're doing. And I always say 6 months to be on a little bit of a long side, but the reality of it is that once they walk into a market, there's going to be about a 3 to 4 month lag on installs. For 3 to 4 months while we're waiting on installs, the only thing to do is sell windows. There's no back end, there's no follow up, there's nothing. There's all you do is keep doing what you've been doing to get this call. And that kind of sets the market owner up for success. And then I would say that once installs come is whenever the market owner's mindset starts to shift. It goes from being leader in the field to now building people up in your room. So maybe you want to tag in on that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say even along the lines of let's break this into 2 different things, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about opening up a brand new market,
Mhm.
right? You got 5 people that go with you, right? Probably 3 of them are your organic recruits and maybe 2 other people that the market owner sent with
Yeah.
you, right? When you bring these people into a brand new market, is first of all is going to be very exciting. So you're going to be able to run on vibes for a good 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I
all
mean?
brand new every day. I mean, you
Yeah.
get a new job. You can be a janitor, but it's new to you.
Yep. So
It's
you're
exciting.
naturally excited. So the biggest thing is that you do want to ride those vibes, right? You want to ride those vibes. You want to keep that positive energy, but just know that it could be 3 weeks, it could be a month and a half. That is eventually going to fade.
Yep.
It's going to fade, and it's going to be up to you to consistently build that belief into those people, right? That this is where we're supposed to be. We're going to make it happen here. And if you build that into your people, they're going to follow you. But it also starts with you leading them, not being a boss to them.
Yeah, we've seen huge factors that have helped offices to grow as far as like Airbnbs. A lot of times in our company when we open up a new market, look, I'll use Jet Katina for example, or Thomas is great. Thomas, their first month they broke records in their first month. But what we'll see is we'll open a new market and the market owner will take it out of their own money and they'll pay for an Airbnb and house the 4 to 5 people that are coming with them. And what does that do? It allows for total control, 100% of accountability. Whereas like Thomas was still the leader in the field, when he goes into San Antonio, he's still leading in the field, and he's also changing lives outside of work whenever everybody's under that same household. So I think that helps out as well. Because like you said, in those first couple of months, that's where you may be riding the wave of, oh, this is exciting, this is new, but it's also where you should be implementing the structure that you are using to get you to market owner.
Yeah.
You know, because
Which is how you build culture.
yeah, that's 100%. But that's the learning steps now. There was somebody that held you to that standard. Now you have to learn how to hold your people to the same standard or higher.
Yeah, and you have to continue holding yourself to that standard. Because the thing is that now you're the person that everybody is looking at,
Yep.
right? It goes back to, right, if they see you not doing something, then you can't hold them accountable to do it.
That's that boss and leader. You know, if they
Yep.
don't respect you because they got to see you do it in the previous office you came from or in the first couple of months of your market owner in this new office, if you have people coming in and they're like, "Oh, he doesn't ever go knock. I've never even seen him in field." You know, like I've never seen him close. Has he ever closed a deal? You know, like when they can say stuff like that, then you become that boss rather than a leader for these people.
Yeah, which is a huge difference, right? It goes back to you being liked only gets you so far,
Yeah.
right? Having a level of respect for your leader
Mhm.
takes you to a different level. And as soon as you're able to establish that by holding yourself accountable, because now you are the market owner, now you are the person that everybody is looking at, and you are not able to put yourself in that situation that Cotten was talking about as, oh man, when was the last time he knocked a door? When was the last time he closed a deal? Don't put yourself in that situation, because then they're naturally going to follow you. But I think it's very important that whenever you have to understand, and this was one challenging thing for me, whenever I opened up or took over Austin, is we were leaving Denver, which is $1 million market, and my instant thought was, we're hitting a million, we're hitting a
Mhm.
million. You know what I mean? And that's an awesome mindset to have, but at the same time, like you got to realize you have to build that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't walk into them.
You don't walk into it. Even if you brought some dudes from the office that you were previously at, right? It still takes time to build that culture,
Mhm.
right? And that comes from daily routines and stuff like that, and holding your people accountable. But it's super important. And I had a market owner tell me one time. He said that should I always feel like like we're not doing enough, or like I'm not doing enough. And I'm like, if you feel like that, you're in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know what I
There's
mean?
always something to do.
There's always something to do, because the second you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm doing enough," it's coming down soon. I can
Yeah.
promise you.
And that goes with our saying that we say it all the time in this company is there's no such thing as good enough.
Yep.
It's either you're growing or you're shrinking. You know that there's only two options here. If you get to market owner by growth, and if you're not continuing to grow, trying to get to the next position, then that's when the depletion starts. That's where you're starting to get further and further from your goals. So it is very important that whenever you get into that new role, you understand that there's never going to be a good enough phase where you've got like, oh, I've got 4 closes, I'm good enough. You know, at that point, you should be like, I got to get these guys out of here so I can rebuild again. You know, because if you're consistently building the office, then you'll never have those low slumps.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
so it might be good to talk about, dealing with people as well, like kind of like management of closers. You know, people who may have came with you from other leadership that now have to look to you as a leader. You know,
Yeah, that's a good point. Because
getting away from that boss and leader
well, also
friend.
at the same time, if you got two closers in a room and one of them's getting promoted to market on, they were equals for so long. Um, there could be, some conflict right there, just because y'all were closers and y'all were equals for a long time.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing with that is, first of all, you need to set expectations.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You are the market owner, not them. There's a reason that you're in that chair and not them,
Yep.
right? So that needs to be known. And it's not that you're better than them, right? It's just that you've done more than them,
Yeah.
you know. And the thing is that with somebody like that that's going to come open that market with you, the first thing you want to do is sell vision, you know.
They have
Like,
to trust that you are trying to get them past. I mean, like past where they're currently at.
yep,
If they don't believe, because the thing is if they don't respect you when you get that call as a market owner, it's because they've seen you do things that aren't respectful. You know,
yep,
they see you doing some sketchy stuff in appointments. They see doing sketchy things with knockers. You know, and if you get the leadership role at that point because leadership didn't see your sketchy things, then that's where it's going to come sour to where you either have to fire that person or
it's
get
going
rid.
to come out.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
it will.
It's definitely going to come out. And But that's crucial that you stay doing the system the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't do shit like that.
Do the right things behind closed doors, and you'll get
Integrity.
rewarded it. Yeah,
You know.
integrity. That's what it comes down to.
So and then also, but build vision into your people. Even the knockers, right? It's got to be constant recruiting. You're in a huge building phase. And don't think that you're in it doing it by yourself, because we always say if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go together. And that's the culture that you got to bring into your office, is that, like Cotten said, they have to truly know that you have their best interest at heart. And if you are able to portray that to them and they understand that, they'll run through a wall for you. It goes back to, like I was talking about to somebody about it yesterday, is if you're being a good leader, these dudes will run through a wall for you. If you're just being a boss, it's like telling a dog what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sit here, here, right? You're just telling a dog what to do, and they're going to be capped on the potential that they have, right?
Yeah. Like Nick Saban, he says in his leadership skills, the book that we read, it talks about how leadership is having every person in the organization that can see the same exact vision. And usually where the headache starts to happen is where a market owner wants so much more out of a closer or as a knocker, but the knocker or the closer doesn't see the same vision as the market owner. They don't see that, hey, I want you to house somebody because it's going to hold you accountable and make you into a better person. They see that as like, oh, the market owner doesn't want to house somebody themselves. So they're just trying to put it off on me, give me more work, right? So if we don't see the same vision like amongst everybody in the room, then we're not able to achieve those bigger goals.
Yeah.
He also says that, leadership is getting the right people off the bus and getting the right people on the bus in the right seats, right? So that's again, making sure that the people who are on the bus with us, they see the same vision of where we're going.
Yeah.
That's why we were able to recruit the same way. The people who have done our system have had the same results over and over again, is because we all see the same thing. But the people who come in and see a different vision, they have different results.
Yep, exactly. And let's kind of talk about, taking over a market, right? Me and you actually both did this. Your situation was way different than my situation, right? I
Yep.
was taking over a failing market whenever you were just taking over the market that we
started.
built.
Yeah, we started in it.
So it's a way different transition, but it's still still has its own challenges, But in my situation, taking over a failing market when there was, two people in the office, and you walk in there and these people just have zero belief, zero swag. You know what I mean? They feel like they're on an island by themselves.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you gotta recommend, that you gotta tell them, is I am the man for the job, and I'm gonna get you to where you want to go, right? As long as you're with me, because you got to rebuild those people up. You can't go in there and tell them how bad they suck.
No.
You know what I mean? You go in there and you start beating these people down, they're not going to want to work for you. They're not going to want to go to war with you.
And that's anybody. Even in a winning office, like even when you beat somebody down, you hold them accountable, you put that pressure on them. I think it is crucial that you always end the conversation with a positive. As look, man, I want you to understand, like I'm only hard on you because I see potential in you. I see that you can be so much better. But I feel like if you go in there and beat people down, especially in today's world, is everybody's so soft. If you beat somebody down, they'll take that and they'll go to sleep on it, wake up the next day on it, and they're like, he said this to me, and you'll never be able to grow.
No, and the thing is that a lot of people that come into this industry, they don't necessarily believe in themselves.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? They got
most people in the world don't believe in themselves.
don't believe in themselves, and that's our job as leaders to believe in them and sell them on to believe in themselves, and that comes from not beating them down constantly, telling them, hey dude, I'm the man for the job, I'm gonna give you the tools and you're going to be successful. And if you do that and you build them up, like I said, they'll run through a fucking wall for you. You know what I mean? But if you're bossing them around like a dog, like a stray dog, they're not gonna do shit.
No,
they're gonna be scared.
They get treated like a slave. But I always took accountability as a market owner, that it was a test on me to see if I can change this person into somebody who's productive to society and actually adds value. I vividly remember hiring people. And for me, I was like a no judgment zone. Like you can come in and you can be any type of person. But if you got the balls to go out there and knock those doors and do it our way, I'm going to give you the chance. Who am I to say you can't do it? I look at this job kind of like church. I will never tell you can't come in. If you want to come have your connection, and come on in. Doors are open. But I'm not. I'm not going to beg you to come. If you want to come here, we're all here. So the job, we've let people come into the job who you'd look at them and you're like, what is that? Or who hired this person? Are you serious? I've had closers ask me, are you serious, Garrett? And we've been able to change those people into closers, right? Because it's a test on me. Do I have what it takes to be able to change that person's life? Every person that I get given in this room is an opportunity for me to make a difference. But that's perspective, right? As a market owner, there's other market owners in the company who are like, oh, well, Indeed will keep filling the room. Luckily that person has a new recruit coming in. That's not the way I looked at it. I looked at it as every person it's an opportunity for me to have an impact on.
Yeah, and I think that's super crucial. I had an experience where I heard somebody one time go, "Oh man, if I had Dakota's people, I could do the same thing."
Yeah.
Guess where he's at?
Yeah.
Not here.
No.
You know what I mean? And that just goes to show you, and that's a true level of leadership when you're able to take that responsibility of your own and don't blame it on the people that you got.
Yeah.
We hear that time and time again. People through Indeed, man, they suck. You know what I mean? No, it's your perception. It's your perspective.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly thinking that you need good people to be successful, then you need to look yourself in the mirror as a market owner or as a leadership role and ask yourself, am I taking accountability for training and giving these people every tool that they need to be successful?
Yep.
And if they're not understanding it and getting the results, it's not them, it's you. So you have to stop blaming them for you not getting results in your business.
And that's a life lesson. If anything's not going your way, just blame yourself. Even as a knocker, like appointments were not closing. I had 18 no-goes in a row. I could have kept saying, well, man, that closer sucks. He just can't close deals. But what good comes from that? Nothing at all. But now the difference is I took it accountability. I was like, well, if I damn near sell the windows on the door to where all this dude has to walk in and sign a check, that's accountability. That's me taking ownership as a knocker that I'm the reason I'm not getting paid. And I truly believe I'm a regional today because I took that level of accountability. I'm never going to blame, like even when I had 18 no-goes in a row, I wasn't going into the office saying the closers suck here. I'm just like, what do I need to do more?
Yep.
How can I set a better appointment? My first appointment, I stayed on the porch for an hour talking to this couple. They were from Louisiana. My first sale ever in Utah was a Louisiana couple that I talked to for an hour, convincing them about buying windows. And I did that because I couldn't figure out why I had 18 no-goes in a row. But again, I took accountability on myself. I said, I'm going to sell these windows. To where he just walks in, signs contract. And ended up working that way, but that's not the long-term play. That's just figuring out until you see the solution.
Right. And the biggest thing is like, as a market owner, you cannot blame it on your people, dude. We as leaders must take full accountability on developing people. It's not because you got a got dealt some bad cards.
I say that all the time. It's not the cards you're dealt; it's how you play the cards. Because everybody gets played different cards. A 2 and a 7's the worst hand. Offsuit is the worst hand in poker. But if there's a 2 or a 7 on the flop, you're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good thing. So it's kind of the cards that were dealt. How are you going to play those cards?
Yep. So super important. So we appreciate all of you watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channels below and take this into real consideration, right? What is your mindset in your office? What is your perspective on your people in your office? Are you truly invested into them, or do you think you just got a bad deal of cards, like Cotten said? You know what I mean? No, play the cards you were dealt and make it happen and believe in your people and build them up. And, we appreciate all of you watching. We'll catch you next time.